What's going on, YouTubes? Time for the recap. So, if you watched the pre-market video, and I'll throw that in the description if you missed it, we talked about the couple scenarios for the No News Chop Monday. All the scenarios were based off of this 15-minute candle. We talk about moving outside the weekly and prior all-time high doji resistances, moving up towards the 100, shying away, towards 100, shying away, all because of that golden GP. Finally breaking through and almost hitting target, leaving us with a little leg down, trapping some more shorts, and again, moving towards the target on ES. Now, SPY had already got it. This is why we use our ETFs here. I don't really look at the ES much. I use the SPY, and here's another good reason why ES tends not to play nice and SPY does. So we did talk about the same exact things, anything over that doji long biased up to the 100 fib and the 50. If you look to your left, that is the same 15-minute we mentioned in the pre-market video, thus predicting the move towards the 50 if we could find the confirmation. So let's talk about the move up that we looked for. Now you can see that the 15-minute on SPY had hit. You can see long target 2 for us here. That's what we posted in our Discord, was long up to here. And I told my crew I highly doubt we're going over 650. This little area will be the top right here at the lower golden pocket of the 15-minute from yesterday, right? So we talked about it moving back up to there and then potentially down later. Of course, we're catalyst down for the week is going to be CPI, PPI, pending cuts and everything else. It's not going to be a no news Monday. To get that huge volatile move to the downside, we're going to need a big one to get us going. So let's take a look at the open here and all the things that we had traded today. A little bit of the top chop fest here, but we made it around for a couple thousand out. The funded's got like 1,300 on them, so we did okay for the morning. So the chop morning open, right? We have the 100 fib from the 15. We talked about a whole bunch, and I was wanting to see either a live tag of one of these. I told our crew if it goes back up to the 100 first tag, you're going to short it. If it goes down to the 100, 1618, you're going to long it. And one of these two level magnets will hit and cause an opposing reaction out of the gate. So here's that first 5-minute candle pushed up, hit that 100, and then you see the rejection point, right? Starts to fail, comes down to find support. Well, that monster fib, which is always yesterday's high low in gold on my chart, so yesterday's highs all the way down to yesterday's lows, gives us the golden pocket right here, 50 being the strongest part of that pocket for Fibonacci. So on the 5-minute chart, we've seen all these doji bodies stack up, and I'm very big on trading doji. Trading doji resistance and using it as an over-under in this manner right here. So when we broke into a little fresh low, tapped that 200, popped back up, wicked into all that doji resistance right here. We did end up compiling to the bottom side of the 50. We found support here, and then right here I said, yeah, that's it, guys. We hit the higher high, wait for it to wick down, find support, and we're going to go long to T2. So we did not get too much of the short. I was profit stopped out 4 times today. So that means on the ES, I do a thing called 3/4 quarter covering, especially in the small accounts. I will take 4 ES contracts, right? And let's just say I hop into a trade right here at the rejection point where we looked for a first tag rejection of the 100 and then down to at least the 1618 or 50, right? And we had the continuation a couple times, kick us back out of the trade, even on here, right? And then a big one right here at the end. So what I do is I'll take 4 and I'll usually ride out like 3 points or so, right? Let's just make it something easy, like 3 points. And what I'll do is I'll take my short, I'll get the 3, right? Which is $600. You got 4 contracts. That's 51, 52. Okay, so $200 per point times 3, $600. So I take that down and I ride the 3. Boom, I cover 3 out of the 4, right? So we're left with 1 ES, which is $50 a point. I put a stop right at the break even of the profit take or the entry, and that means that if it does reverse the 3 points that I got, I lose 150 out of the 600, coming out green no matter what. I do that 3/4 quarter cover all the time because 3 quarters out, 1 quarter on for the runners generally leads to fun moves like this. So another one, I was on the short bias thing on a lot of these stop outs today, unfortunately, but it's all right. So one of the lower highs we did short here into the doji, another 3/4 quarter cover here. We're again taking 4 ES contracts, coming down here a little bit, getting about 3 points. I get out of that first profit pretty fast. That's only 30 cents on SPY. So from here to here was that out. You left one on, ran back down. I said, oh, okay, well, maybe going on to the 1618. Seeing the reverse coming and slam, stopped out back at entry. And again, we're still taking home some money because we're only stopping out 3 points of one $50 ES per point contract rather than having all three on, right? Or all six or whatever we're on. So the 3/4 quarter cover is generally pretty fun. So that last pretty push up right here was an interesting one. We'll talk about the QQQ relevance as well here, and then what we'll get into next. So the QQQ was the front runner today, okay? So again, this guy, the big chippers, the big tech, they were moving, right? Meta had a pretty crazy move out of the gate this morning. I think Tesla and NVIDIA were both running. Yeah, we had big candles out of the gate. Then they kind of changed hands. So some of the big AI stocks moving. Anything above the algo is what I usually like to use. And, well, the Qs is front running as you see that mass divergence. So if I keep the Qs here and SPY here, you zoom in on that opening morning chop, you would have noticed some massive divergence on the chart, right? And all I had was the algo there pre-market to help us out because even the RSIs were just really light, right? Just really light. And when the Qs kind of came into the... Let's max this out here. Algo breakout, which again, we use these big algo wicks, these dispositions. We like to fib them high-low. If they go over that 100 fib, we target the 1618, then 2618. And we had the final long kind of up there. But again, like we were saying, the tickers changed hands. And what that means is Qs for the first session part had ran higher, higher, higher. Qs kind of wonks out here with the strength of the, or weakness of the Magnificent Seven, whatever is following, and then SPY kind of takes over. So again, if you see the early divergence there, where let's see that 9:15, 9:30 a.m. reversal on SPY was that 9:15, 9:30 top on QQQ. So the opening morning big push ranges from the Qs, we call that front running, obvious divergence from over here, whereas a very lackluster downside move, and then it changed hands. SPY took its turn to go to the long side. Qs came down. So when we seen that last T2 and I told everybody 650, that's it. You know, if you're lucky, this is that bottom channel. We hit that. I was expecting to come back down to our second target. So my chat knows in the Discord, I wanted 2 magnets hit today. One was the 100, one was the 1618. That was our breakdown in, for our live chat. So we did hit the first one right here, the 100 right away. We dallied around, hit that final long, and then magneted back to the algo we needed, okay? And again, where does that algo come from? That was the Friday dump 15 right here. Okay, you're looking at the 5-minute chart, but that's the 15-minute fib, and then we just drop down to the 5 to play that. Now, what's next, since we hit all of our algo targets at that 15, is we're going to come back to ES, and we're going to notice a couple of shies that we talked about in the first part of the video, okay? So we have a more strong reversal attempt here while we're holding 6,500 psychological level. Yesterday's 50 fib, right? 64.9650. We slipped that just a little bit, but you're noticing that 1618 hold again. So again, we're going to go to the 15. It's going to be long biased, of course. You're going to come into this. No GP. Remember, the SPY hit the GP. SPY is always better, but when the SPY is closed, we can look at the ES charts. Usually, I don't look at these futures charts at all unless there's gap displacements or the SPY is just simply not open. And this is why, again, the example was SPY worked out perfect today hitting its targets. ES, not in hitting, okay? Did not get in the zone. So this 15-minute has the 10 SMA, has the 100 EMA, high-low, rolled all the way down, rotated from the 3618 back to, like we said, stopped at the gold, stopped at the gold. You see that 3820 being that resistance. That's yesterday's high to yesterday's lows, golden fib. That's the pocket. So we got stuffed there on ES many times before hitting that 100, finally opening range that little low and then pow into it. And then what stopped it? The all-time high opening level candle. This is a level I kept on because it was going to be very interesting for today and moving into tomorrow. So again, you go to that all-time high. That's just the all-time high daily candle open. So I put that on that all-time high. And I said, okay, well, if that's going to be a huge marker because the all-time high data, most algos are going to be looking at that one. The high, the open, the close, the lows, the all-time high candle, because it is all-time high is most watched by the algos. So that hit again before our little 15. Obviously, it is a daily candle. It does take precedent over the 15. But now that leaves us with yet another target. So anything over that 3820 for us at the open is going to be long biased into the golden pocket of the same 15 that was missed today on ES, not on SPY. So this is going to be a catch-up play where it fakes out the shorts here, comes down, breaks, and anything over 6507.17 again returns to the magnet we're looking for right here, right? And we're very close to those all-time highs. So what we're going to look for now is that 15-minute to fill up, and I'm going to see what kind of reaction it has. I have no big predictions here. because we are very near all-time high again, and we just have to see the confirmation bias here leading into the last couple of 15s we had on the Friday dip, because again, that 15-minute chart, these are the only things we have. That's all-time highs, guys. So there's only a couple of things left in the range of technical analysis, right? We have the all-time high 15-minute no tag doji. So again, if you would draw that there's no GP tag you see right in the middle of that candle. We're working off the one right before it right now, where it got this high-low tagged all the way back down and rotated, no GP. So all it has to do is stay above 65.0877, 65.07, that little range right here, to push up and squeeze into the golden pocket. That's where the opportunity is going to be. Is it going to keep thresholding and pushing the highs? Well, we'll see. I'm going to look at it tomorrow. I'm not going to worry about it tonight. All I know is tonight I'll look for a tag of the GP, and my hopeful assumption is I'm going to wake up and it's going to hit that GP, and then it's going to take off to the downside. That would make the most sense. So thanks for tuning in. If you want to see how we do in the pre-market, that is our breakdown. That is our literal premium Discord chat that we run. The link is in the description. We stream this stuff live. We talk about it all pre-market in chat, and obviously do the live stream. If that's interesting to you, you want to join up, links in the description, my friends. We'll talk to you on the next.